The year is 2005. It was not the worst of years, but most certainly not the best either. Anime releases such as Eureka 7 kept the hype for anime high, with alternate releases like Noeen and Blood Plus in the mix for those with a more refined palate.
Haruka will eventually disappear from your sight.
Crispin Freeman, get out of my bedroom!
Added along, of course, with the big three in shonen going strong. Bleach just started the year before, One Piece was going into its 6th year, and the original Naruto is only 2 years out from having been rebooted with the release of Shippuden. This is a fairly low-key year, nothing big or game-changing, but nothing too drastically horrible. Until, of course, the release of the anime that we are talking about today. A single OAV production that not only is considered by some to be the worst anime that they have ever witnessed, but it was so bad it ended the careers of many of the staff members who worked on it. It has a story so convoluted, it was like trying to deliver a plot to an average 24-episode mech anime in a mere 20 minutes. It is a production that really is only noteworthy for one thing: that I got animated in the first place. Thankfully, though, it is almost impossible to find, let alone watch. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, my name is Arcada, and today on Glass Reflection, we have dived deep into the bowels of anime history to bring you an anime so loathed, so horrible, I almost couldn't find the footage to show you just how bad it really is. Today is Mars of Destruction. God help us all. Let's jam. So before we dive headfirst into the shitfest, allow me to explain upfront how this OAV is one that you will thankfully never have to watch, mostly because of its availability. It's never been licensed in North America, so no DVDs and even no VHS copies are available because it's just barely old enough to qualify for that. It's not available on any legal streaming service, and in my research, only one fan subgroup was ever brave enough to sub and release it online. And even that release, though, is hard enough to find anywhere and comes in beautiful 640 by 480 AVI format. Which I say in jest, because it's not even 640 by 480, it's more like 640 by 413, because there's this suspicious black bar at the bottom. Like, there's no other releases out there that I could find to compare, so I can't confirm if this black bar is in the original production or not, or just added by the subbers as a convenient place to put subtitles. But considering how these shots are framed, I'm inclined to believe that it was actually the anime doing this, in which case, what is wrong with your aspect ratio? I should also point out that this video will be spoiler-tastic, though, honestly, do you really care in this case? Like, really? Fucking really? Allow me to attempt to explain what exactly is going on in this show, because as I mentioned, the pacing is completely whacked in the head. In the long, far-off year of 2010, some guys are returning back from Mars and burn up upon re-entry into Earth's atmosphere due to some mysterious malfunction that is never explained. Shortly afterwards, a bizarre event begins to happen on the streets of Tokyo, apparently because of this Martian debris. At least that's what's assumed by this explanatory text here. Makes sense so far? Good. That won't last. Next, we see some alien creatures referred to as ancients attacking the city, and it's up to an elite task force of Moe Blob girls with assault rifles to defend the city. Why young girls? Why no helmets? Who knows? I'd say that they forgoed the use of helmets so that they could better showcase the character designs, but I've seen fan work on DeviantArt better than this. Not that any of this matters, because one of the girls gets her head blown off anyway, as your reminder that this is a serious and grounded action series. Eventually, though, the girls are outmatched and are saved by our protagonist in a skin-tight mech suit wielding a plasma sword. Though I say saved, but our protagonist gets smacked down so hard, I question why the story didn't just end there with all of their deaths. We cut to him in the hospital, being doted on by the surviving female soldiers, but nowhere do we get an explanation on how they managed to escape. The ancients just let them go, I guess? Okay, sure, because that makes sense. There is a lot in this story that is just blatant hand-waving for the sake of progressing what I assume to be the plot. I don't know if someone thought that this was good character development or something, but having our protagonist get the shit kicked out of him is not a good start. In fact, it's not a good end either. Within 5 minutes, we are in another fight scene where he once again gets shat on. But eventually he's able to save the day because who I assume to be the main female lead is in danger once again, but also because our big bad conveniently and very politely stands still for the prerequisite amount of time for our hero to line up a sniper shot, slam it into his torso, saving the world. This is, of course, after the twist, where the bad guy reveals that they were really the Earthlings all along, awakened by the Martian debris, and humanity itself is the villain. Because that makes sense. Okay, we have a lot to unpack here, so let's start simple. There's no reason to care about any of the characters in this story because there's no character development. Yes, it's only 20 minutes long, and that's not a lot of time to work with. Sure, but you deal with that by cutting away all of the extra characters and just focusing on maybe 1 or 2 of them. Let's not spend several minutes of our very limited time talking about these 4 female soldiers and how specialized and badass they are, only for them to never be of any use whatsoever. The development of our main character Takeru consists of 2 fight scenes where he gets beat up, showing how inept he is at what he's supposed to be good at, and there's an overly long suit-up sequence where he gets seemingly crushed by the suit as he attempts to put it on. Oh yeah, and there's this scene of him talking to a disembodied voice telling him to get in the damn mech suit, because if we can't give him his own character development, we can just pretend he's Shinji Ikari, and he'll get development via osmosis or something, because hashtag that makes sense. The animation is not much better than the story. It is not only poorly drawn, it is not just stiff, it is something that I'd use on someone if I wanted to attempt to cause blindness. That's how bad I found it. To be fair, this was 2005. The industry is just starting to get a leg to stand on in this new era of digital animation. So for a lot of productions, your mileage did vary. But for a time where we had such samey, bland digital character designs, these feel like they came out of the bottom of the bargain bin. That consist of every bad stereotype from the time. The action scenes could be recreated by a student and 30 minutes in an editing program, moving characters from one side of the frame to the other, saying nothing about the musical score for this show, which somehow I found to be even more of an outrageous offense. There is little original music in this production. What exists, I feel like, was created on a cheap $5 synthesizer that someone found in a back alley in Akihabara. The worst, though, is the out-of-context bastardization of classical music, seemingly thrown into the mix because it's free to use and someone thought, well, there has to be music, right? It's just a bunch of well-known pieces by classical composers there for no reason. No thought, however, was put into how this music is supposed to complement the rest of the production, because it doesn't complement at all. It's there to have music playing. That's it. It enrages me because I now cannot listen to these pieces without remembering this shitfest I now attach them to. And don't get me started on that twist Shyamalan-esque ending by saying, oh, the ancients are the real Earthlings, and it's the humans who are the invaders. That's such a cop-out ending with no build-up whatsoever. It would have been fine to end with that if there had been anything before to lead us to believe that it was even remotely a possibility, or, you know, if we had any reason to care about the plot in the first place. Really, though, by the time the twist came about, I'd already tapped out. And I was trying to figure out if I would die via alcohol poisoning if I tried to turn watching this into a drinking game. Answer is yes, by the way. Every single aspect of this production, from the story, the characters, the animation, the sound, are all devoid of any creativity or possible enjoyment. Everything is so bad that if even one of these aspects was in any other production, they would have dragged down a 10 out of 10 show into 1 or 2 out of 10 territory at best. No one in their right mind should watch this. I'm obviously not in my right mind because I watched it 3 times to try and figure this shit out, trying to find some deeper meaning, but there is none. Don't watch this. Don't buy it, not that you can. Don't download it. It's an insult to your bandwidth. I would rather marathon both SAO and school days back to back without a bathroom break, because then at least I'd have some semblance of a satisfying ending to trick me into believing that it was worth it in the end. But this, there's nothing. No payoff. No reason to watch it at all. Like, go watch paint dry. At least that's entertaining on a microscopic level. I am legitimately pissed off right now. And you know what? Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to dignify this with a proper ending. I have 3 more horrible anime to review, and I need to keep up my fortitude. So I'm going to go and watch something good, and this video can just, like, finish on its own. Okay? Stay frosty, everybody. Bye. Stand up, stand up, stand up. 打ち込むのは Alright now, alright now, alright now. 誇りのブレッド Break you down, break you down, break you down. 拳放つ聖なるビジョン Stand proud.